Okay, I think I was mute when I spoke earlier. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session today. We will be starting the meeting in another 2 minutes. We're just waiting for more people to join in. So we have a full house. In the meantime, I will be sharing my screen. And if you can see my screen okay, you can just drop a message in the chat box. We also have the Q&A chat box where you can drop your questions. So for those of you raising up your hands already, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, and we will answer those questions in the course of the presentation. Okay. You can drop your question in the chat box. For those of you raising your hands, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, and we will answer all your questions. Okay. Someone said the chat is not. Let me just double check that now. The chats. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think the chat box is open now. Okay. The chat box is turned on now. So please feel free to drop. But we also have the Q&A. We have the chat box, but we have the Q&A chat box where we want you to drop your questions so that as we answer your questions, it will show. We can see that a question has been answered. The reason I'm saying this is because in meetings like this, we often get repeated questions. So colleagues answer, presenters answer a particular question, 10 more people ask the same question, and it seems like there's so many questions. So please make use of the Q&A chat box for your questions, and then we will answer all the questions. So welcome again to this webinar. We don't want this to be very long. It's actually going to be more of answering a lot of your questions. Our emails are swamped with same repetitive questions, WhatsApp's clogged and all. So we just wanted to put the session together to make sure we are able to answer all your questions, especially because we are approaching a lot of deadlines. We have the class deadline in 2 weeks' time. Some courses are closing for this. Some courses are closing, like they're filled up. So the chances are very slim for some programs at the moment. Some programs are still very much open, but even though they're open, we have the deadline already closed by. So this meeting is to help us put things in perspective. Okay. I know some of us are feeling stuck. So you don't even know what to do. Some people just got their offer, for example, last week, and they're wondering, how am I going to pull through if the deadlines are this close? That's the essence of this meeting today. And so we want you to feel free to ask any question you might have. Please note, we will not be answering personal questions today. We don't expect you to put your ID in the chat box because this is a public forum. We will deal with specific situations, maybe in an email or maybe after the meeting through phone calls or all. We don't want you to be sharing your information in public. Today, I am being joined by my wonderful colleagues. My manager, Mr. Quentin, is here. Quentin, I can't see your video. My manager, Mr. Quentin Albert, is the regional manager for Africa, of course, which includes Nigeria. Good afternoon, Quentin.
Hi, Adida. Hi, everyone.
Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. We also have our colleague from the international office, Mr. Mark Knight. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon. Hi, everybody.
Nice to be here. Lovely to have you here. Okay. So now that we've seen everyone, so when you get those precasts emails, when you get those emails where you get the link to the video you need to watch and those pre-visa counseling questions, it's Mr. Mark. It's the one who takes care of our Salford International inbox. Okay, this is not going to be a typical presentation. We just want to talk. We want to answer questions, okay? And okay, I can see that. Let me see. I'm just trying to check the Q&A box to see if the questions are already loading. I was also able to extract questions from the registration form. You know, there's a section in the registration form where we asked you to ask any question, and a lot of people ask questions at some point in the in this session. We will be looking at those questions as well, and my colleagues will also be answering those questions. Okay, so quickly, let's just go to the presentation. I hope you can see my screen okay. Please, if you can see my screen, please can you just drop a yes in the chat box so I'm sure that you can see the screen. If you can see my screen okay, just say yes, I can see the screen. I'm not sure. Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much for confirming. All right, so we will jump right into the presentation. It's just highlights of what we want to talk about today. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. We had this type of session in May and it was very informative and a lot of people were able to take information from there, which provided a lot of guidance to all the steps they need to take. So this will not be less. Now, what are we focusing on in this session today? Quickly, we will look at information about Salford very briefly, program overview. We're not going into details about the programs we're offering at different schools. We'll be looking at your offer letter. It will surprise you that a lot of people do not read through their offer letter entirely. You can tell when they ask certain question and then you have to ask them, did you read your offer letter? Like, did you read the offer letter completely? Your offer letter is not just the page 1 where you have the course information, the tuition fee, and the most important part, your scholarship discount. No, your offer letter has multiple pages and every section, every page in your offer letter is very instructive. Someone called me yesterday and after 2 minutes into my time we got into conversation, like 2 minutes, I knew this person didn't read through their offer letter. Do you also know that your offer letter has links in it that you can click on, which gives you other documents that you need to study? Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll be looking at your admission stages. I included this in the email I sent to everyone. Your offer conditions, tuition fee payment options, scholarship loan awards, conditional offer action and processes, like what are you supposed to do if you have a conditional offer, if you have an unconditional offer, what are you supposed to do, what processes are you supposed to go through, the CAST request and application process for both direct applicants and applicants who have applied through agents, through university partner agents. We'll also be looking at proof of funds, TB test and precast activities, and the pre-visa counseling questions, especially for direct applicants. Still useful information for applicants who have applied through partner agents. We'll also be looking at visa application process briefly, not in detail. We looked at it in detail last month, but we'll just talk through it. We'll talk about visa refusals, refund, accommodation plans, and we will talk about pre-departure briefings that would happen much later in the year, around August, close to when you can now travel to the UK. We'll look at pre-registration, arrivals, and those are the things, those are the highlights for today's meeting. Okay, please take your pen and notepad and try to jot something. That would, as much as possible, we will try to make this session available for you somewhere. We're trying to get a platform where we will put all those recordings for you to go back and listen to serve as a reference point for you. Okay, but now that you're here live, please ensure you're taking notes as we go along. All right, moving on quickly to about the university. As you all know, we're located in Manchester, and we're not a very we're not a new university. We're quite old. Started as a real technical institution, attained university status in 1967, and we're a campus-based university. Large number of students, and as you know, we are very keen about linking our programs to what obtains in industry. We are very passionate about having our graduates being able to transition to industry seamlessly. And that's why we introduced placement year. We're one of the first universities to introduce placement years in the UK. As you would know, a lot of you have courses that have the options of doing placement. Please note, these placement opportunities don't come, this placement offer doesn't come with your offer letter. So if you are on a course that has the opportunity for a placement year, you will not see that on your offer letter. Okay, and this is because you only apply for the placement once you're done with your coursework, and that will happen while you're in the university. They would help you with all that process. Okay, just in case we have someone asking questions about why don't I have the placement in my offer letter. So we're in Salford, we're in the northwest of England, city located to Manchester. We are part of what we call the Greater Manchester. And everybody always wants to know how far a location in the UK is from London. We're only 2 hours by train from London. Well, it now depends on where you're going to eventually in London, but at least to get to the major train stations in London, it takes only 2 hours. And as you know, the transport system in the UK, it is very direct. There's nowhere you want to go in the UK that you can't access easily, even if you're not mobile. And of course, we have the Manchester International Airport, which is like the central link for everyone traveling from everywhere in the world. Okay, and quick facts about Greater Manchester. It's a very big city, and you know, Manchester itself is host to a number of universities, Salford, University of Salford, and the rest. Okay, and Manchester is famous for their science, technology, culture, arts, and of course, football. There's no way we'll talk about Manchester, we won't talk about football. And you know, one of the time out ranking had voted Manchester as one of the third most exciting city in the world. Okay, now to the business of the day. I had to do that quick intro for those who just got their offer. They're still trying to grapple around, oh, have I made a nice decision? So those are quick facts about the university. And before I go on, we have 4 main faculties at the university. We have the business school, we have the engineering, so we have the Salford Business School, we have the School of Engineering and Environment, we have School of Science, Engineering and Environment. So it's a 3-in-1 school. We also have our School of Health and Society, where we have all our nursing, psychotherapy, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, both UG and master's program in nursing, all the health courses. We also have the SAM City, we call it SAM City for short. That's the School of Arts, Media and Creative Technology, where you have courses like journalism, media, TV production, and the like. So those are the 4 main faculties we have at 4 main schools we have at the University of Salford. When you check your offer letter, you'll find out that your course fall into one of these schools. Okay, now onto your offer letter, admission stages, your offer condition. I will pause sharing my screen now, and I want to pull up that category. That's there's a box I shared with you in your email when I sent the invite. Let me just pull that up very quickly. Okay. So all of us will fall into one of these categories. So you on this call, you are either a conditional offer holder or an unconditional offer holder. And as I talk through the status, you know where you belong and the key actions you need to take now, from now till the 14th. And for the UG applicants and PG applicants who have a bit of extension on their deadlines, I mean, not extension, I mean, their deadlines is a bit further away than the master's applicants. And don't forget, like we said during our last information session, these deadlines can be checked on the university webpage, on the university website. So you'll find the deadlines on the application deadline pages. So if you go to the university website and type in the search box international application deadlines, it will take you to the page where we'll have our CAS deadline, because that's one of the questions I found repeated in the question and answers, the questions being asked while you were completing the registration form. When is the CAS deadline? The previous CAS deadline was the 23rd of June. It was extended to the 14th of July. So a lot of people asking, oh, can it be extended? The answer at the moment is no, except you have an exceptional case that we can look into. But I don't want to talk too much about that. Let's just talk through your offer of admission stages. So you're a conditional offer holder. You have not met your condition at all. I think this category will be for people who either recently got their offer, okay, or you got your offer since you didn't do anything. That's the category of people we're referring to. You are a conditional offer holders. You have conditions on your offer. Some of this condition could be your academic, it can be academic condition. Maybe you're asking you to submit further documents. We're asking you to rewrite your personal statement, or we're asking for a document you've sent before to be resent, or we're asking you to rewrite your personal statement. There are lots of conditions. We're asking for a portfolio for those courses that are quite practical. Some conditions might be attached to maybe an interview you're supposed to do. So if you're not sure what your offer condition is, please refer to your offer letter. Everyone has their conditions stated in your offer letter. You can also log into your application portal online if you have applied to us directly, and you will see your admission offer status. Okay. One thing a lot of people don't do is they are very quick. Some people are just very quick to send emails when the answer to those emails is already lying in their portal, because your application portal is an interface where you can see things in real time. If you've uploaded a document for the admissions office to look at, or for the assessment team in the school you have applied to review, you can tell if that document has been reviewed or not. If the document says not reviewed, if it's not yet been reviewed, it means your offer status will not change until that is completed. Okay, so this is us telling you, please ensure you're always checking your application portal. That portal is an interface where we communicate with you what's going on with regards to your application. Okay, so if you're a conditional offer holder, you've not met any condition at all because you've had this offer for so long, well, the time is short now. And for those, I'm particularly concerned about those who just got their offer recently. So someone said to me yesterday, but I just got my offer yesterday. Won't I be given enough time? I said, well, your application was already late. So if you are applying late to the university, you must be ready to jump through all the process as quickly as possible. Okay, so we won't say, oh, because we just gave you your admission yesterday, then we'll give you the 6 months we gave people who already got their offer since October, September last year. You understand what I mean? So if you're applying late, onus lies on you to do all you need to do, which means meeting your offer condition, paying your deposit, and already have your proof of funds, if not yet matured, will be matured before the current cast deadline. So you see, when you ask, so what can I do? This is what you need to do. And if your situation is such that you are not even ready at all, the best option will be for you to defer your admission. We'll talk through deferrals later. Okay. All right. We have conditional offer holders who have submitted the documents requested in their conditions, but they are waiting for your offer to be updated. So someone had said to me before, I've already met my offer conditions. I said, how do you know that? Do you have an unconditional offer already? She said, no, but I've met the condition. I said, well, let me correct you. You have submitted the documents required for you to meet the condition, but you have not met the condition until the documents have been reviewed and your offer has been updated accordingly. So there are two different things, okay? If you have submitted whatever document has been requested from you and you've not received feedback for so long, your first port of call should be your application portal if you have applied directly. If you have applied directly, you can check on your application portal and you can tell if the document has been reviewed or not. If the document is still sitting unreviewed, this is where the issue lies. And this is what you should be following up with the admissions team. And by the way, let me say, always send emails regarding your admission to the admission team. So I see people copy like 5 emails in their emails trying to follow up. It is not the number of emails you put in your email that determines how fast. In fact, I spoke with someone this morning who has been sending emails for the past 3.5 weeks. And I said, by the way, can I even see the emails? What email address have you been sending to? He said that there are many. So he counted so by the time I looked at the email, he had been sending emails to every other email except the email address that would address the situation it's trying to deal with. So please note, whatever situation you're trying to deal with regards to your offer condition, moving your offer from conditional to unconditional, please, your relevant admission email contact is already on your offer letter. So if you have your offer letter with you, you can check the top right corner of your offer letter and you will find the respective email address. So we don't have one email address for the entire admission team. So you'll be wrong sending your queries to, for example, you're just sending it to applications at Salford. The best option will be for you to send it to, for example, if you're business offer holders, business school offer holder, you should be sending to the business school PG admissions team. So in the admissions team, we have the admission team members for the postgraduate programs. We have them for the undergraduate program. And of course, the research admissions team, they're also different. So you need to always check, who are you sending emails to? Yes, you can always send emails to me. You can always send to Quincy. You can always send to the international office. But we are essentially not the ones who will treat the queries you are trying to talk about. You can copy us in this email, but essentially, you should be sending your emails to the relevant admissions team. Please take note of that. But if it has to do with payment of tuition fee, you don't need to copy 5 of us emails. You only need to send that email, your payment confirmation documents, to one email address, and that's the finance payment team, which is already on your offer letters. I get that question all the time. Oh, can I have the finance team's email? The finance team's email is already stated on your offer letter. And that's why I said at the beginning of this presentation, a lot of offer holders don't read through your offer letter completely. Please always make sure, even if you've gone through all the stages, please, today, make it a point of duty to read through your offer letter page by page. All the links included, if you're reading the offer letter on your phone, click on any device, ensure you click on the links. Those links are entire documents that you need to also go through. So someone had a sad situation last week, and the person is asking for refund. Unfortunately, this person does not even know what the university refund policy is. And she was just very upset. I understand the anxiety. I said, have you read the refund policy? He said, I don't know. Where is it? I said, it's right there in your offer letter. And that will be one of the links embedded in your offer letter. So please, let's ensure we're always reading our offer letter completely and also clicking on all the links embedded in the offer letter. So for anything admission queries, please send it to the admissions team. For anything that has to do with payments, you're asking queries about, have my fees been confirmed? That's the finance payment team. Okay. So you already know that we have 2 payment options. You're either paying through Flywire if you're doing any international bank transfer apart from the UK. I repeat, any international bank transfer apart from bank transfers from the UK, you can use Flywire. So you can transfer money from anywhere else apart from the UK. So for those of you who have asked me a lot of time, oh, my auntie wants to pay my fee, can I have the university's bank details? We don't have bank details we share. We don't accept tuition fee through bank details. In fact, we refund, because we used to a couple of years back, and some alumni still have that bank details, and they share it with their maybe family members who are applying now because they feel, oh, I finished from Salford, I know how things are. Please note that information changes very regularly. So we no longer accept tuition fee payment via bank details, via the university bank details. So if you have family paying from the UK, the only option they have is to pay with a card, and that will be the online payment. So we have the Flywire option or the online payment where you can pay with a debit or a credit card. As you all know, in Nigeria, debit cards are not enabled for international transactions. It used to be so many years ago, until the FX crashed completely and FX became so scarce. So a lot of ATM cards, as you know, will not be able to are not enabled for international transaction, except you have a USD card. I know a lot of banks issue USD cards, but you also need to check with your bank the terms and conditions for your USD card. Some banks will tell you they have limits. There's how much you can do in a month. So if you want to explore that option, you don't want to use Flywire, because I've had a couple of people say, oh, the charges on Flywire. Well, if you ask my opinion, I'll rather be safe than sorry. because we've had cases where people trust third parties to pay with their cards, and until a problem happens, we find out that they are not even related in any way. And please don't forget, where your payment comes from is where it will go back to if you would ever need a refund. If you will ever get to a point in your admissions, in your application cycle, where you're going to be asking for a refund, or maybe you overpaid fees and then you need some refund or something like that, money will go back to source. You won't be sending us a new bank detail. So please ensure that wherever your money is coming from, wherever your funds are coming from, are places that you know you can retrieve your money from if the money has to come back to you. This is very, very important. Okay. All right. If you have question about that, just pop that in the question and answer chat box and your questions will be answered. All right. Moving on to another category, the category 3, conditional offer holder. You want to defer until the next available intake for your course. Now, the next intake after the September 2025 intake is the January 2026 intake. Then we have the June 2026 and we have September 2026. Now, for January, a lot of our courses are available. To make it easier for you, you can check the intakes available page on the university website. You can check the intakes available. At some point during this presentation, I'll share the screen from the website so you can see. So if it's already looking like these deadlines are too tight, I don't think I can meet up, the rush is too much for me, I can't do this now, please feel free to defer your admission. Okay, most of the courses are available in January, just few courses are not available. A lot of the courses from the School of Arts, Media and Creative Technology, from that School of Media, a lot of the courses are not available. Most of the courses from the business school, if not all, are available. The courses from the science, engineering and environment courses are available. A lot of the health courses are available as well. But just to be on the safe side, you can go to the website on the intakes available page to check the course. You would find the drop down list for the January 2026 courses, and then you can see if your course is running for January and you defer accordingly. Please note, if you are considering June 2026, we only have some, not all business courses running in June 2026. And of course, if your course is not available in January, if it's not available in June, for example, public health, unfortunately, you have to defer until September 2026. So before you decide to defer, think about it. If your course is one that is not available again until 2026 September, I don't know if a lot of us want that long wait, but at the same time, the deadlines are very short now. Okay, now you're a conditional, and how do you defer your admission? Let me talk about that. You do not need to send us an email to defer your admission. At least every day I get like not less than 5, 10, maybe in my WhatsApp even more questions. I want to defer my admission. How do I defer? It's very straightforward. If you have applied by yourself to the university and you have access to your application portal, you can complete the deferral request on your application portal. If you have applied through one of our partner agents, you can ask them to help you defer your admission accordingly. But make sure you have checked the courses available for the next intake and know when exactly your course will be available so that you can defer accordingly. Okay, so we have number 4, we have the set of conditional offer holders who want to cancel their application off entirely. I have people, it didn't happen for this period, but I remember in May when we're planning the May webinar, I had a couple of people say to me, please don't send me emails again. I'm not coming to Salford again, or I'm not going to the UK, or I have offer for another university. If you don't want to continue to receive correspondence, because on our system, it shows that you are a current offer holder. If you think you are not continue with your application with us, please feel free to cancel your application or offer entirely. And you can also complete that on the portal. If you have applied through an agent, please get in touch with your agent and they will help you accordingly. Now, moving on to the unconditional offer holders. Okay. So if you have an unconditional offer, you have gotten to a very critical point in your admission cycle. If you have an unconditional offer, it means you've paid your tuition deposit and all your academic conditions have been ticked off. Please note, if you're a conditional offer holder, your academic documents are not the only conditions. Finance, your tuition fee deposit is always a condition, and the tuition fee deposit is £5,500. It's also stated on your offer letter. Now, for unconditional offer holders, once you have your unconditional offer, the next thing you need to do is to apply for your CAS. In fact, once you get your unconditional offer, you would get an email shortly from the CAS team prompting you to apply for your CAS. Okay? And you would find the Salford Advantage link where you apply for your CAS. Now, let me emphasize this. If you have applied directly, you can go ahead and apply for your CAS if your proof of funds, for short POF, is ready and you already have a valid TB test certificate done at the approved UKBI center. If you have applied through one of our partner agents, you would find the list on the Nigeria country page on the website, just in case your agent is not listed there. You might also be working with one of the agents that we already work with, so double check. If you are working with an agent, you are not supposed to complete the Salford Advantage link yourself. I'll tell you why. If you're in a hurry, just say, oh, I don't want to wait for my agent, I just want to move on. Because we had a lot of that situation in the last few weeks. I don't want to wait for my agent, or I don't want to talk to my agent, I can do it myself. And you go ahead and complete the Salford Advantage form. We can see on the system that you have applied through an agent. Your CAS request, your CAS application will be voided automatically. Now, consider the time you have given to completing the form, uploading your visa documents, that's your proof of funds and TB tests, relevant documents. And then the casting comes back to you after a while that your CAS has been voided because you've applied through an agent, and the students have a different way their CAS has to be completed. Because if you have applied through one of our agents, we expect them to do the visa counseling for you. We expect them, all the pre-visa counseling questions we send to all unconditional offer holders, we expect them to be the one putting you through all that. And there's a form that they need to complete for us to confirm that they've done all this before they request your CAS. So if you have applied through an agent, it's not a disadvantage. In fact, those who have applied through agents, I feel like your job is even easier. So if you have applied through an agent and you decide on your own to still apply for your CAS by yourself, you are wasting, you see that urgency that you are trying to create, you are just increasing the turnaround time of your CAS request. Because when the CAS team eventually gets to your CAS request application, they cancel it, get in touch with your agent before we to tell your agents, oh, this student has applied by themselves. Why have you not done the application for them? And some of them will say, oh, the student didn't tell us that they were going to apply for their CAS themselves. We cancel the entire thing and you start all over again. So why don't you just get it right the first time? You understand what I mean? So please, it's not a minus if you've applied through an agent. As a matter of fact, is a plus, because that's a standby guide for you through the entire process. Okay? So that's for the CAS application. If you submit a proof of funds to the CAS team that has not met the 28-day requirements, it will be returned to you. And for those of you who have applied for your CAS on this call, you know that once you apply for your CAS and everything is okay, the CAS team comes back to you to say, we'll get back to you with regards to your CAS issuance on XYZ dates. And more often than not, they get back to you on that day, or worst case scenario, maybe a day after. Someone I spoke with today told me, oh, the CAS team was supposed to get back to me yesterday and they've not gotten back to me. And I asked this person, are you sure did you apply directly? Yes. Have you done all that you need to do? The person said yes. Have you completed the pre-CAS activities? Yes. You're able to answer the pre-visa counseling question. You have watched the video. The video we are replacing that soon. We'll send you an update very soon. And this person said yes. So I was wondering, it's very unlikely for the CAS team not to come back to you when they said they will come back to you, except there's something pending. Only for us to find out that after completing those pre-CAS activities, this fellow didn't send a confirmation email to the email address where they received that pre-CAS activity emails from. And this is why you will see in all the emails I send, there are some points, sometimes when I'm about to send those emails, I giggle because I feel someone will say, why is Adedayo shouting in this email? Because I'll put that part in capital letters, I'll underline it, and I'll put it in bold. It's intentional because I know that some people will not read the email. This afternoon, not less than 15 people have said, oh, please send me the link for this. Send me the link to this meeting. And I only replied with one line. Are you sure you read the email? It's very important for us to read the email. When we read emails and we scout for instructions that would serve as action steps for us, it makes the process easier. Okay? So please, if you are at the CAS request stage, you've submitted your CAS request, the CAS team has told you they will come back to you on XYZ date. Also ask yourself, is there anything else I'm supposed to do? Have I received the pre-CAS email? If you have not received the pre-CAS email, that's an email where we have the pre-visa counseling questions, the link to the video where we want you to watch. We hosted a webinar a while back. Like I said, we'll be replacing that video soon. The video is ready, okay, with more updated information. Ask yourself, have I done all this? And have I sent a confirmation email to the international team, ird-africa@salford.ac.uk? Have I sent a confirmation email to tell them that I've completed this process? I can answer these questions. That's a question for you to answer. And we also get a lot of questions around, is there going to be an interview? No, we are not going to conduct an interview for you, but we give you those videos to watch. We give you the videos to watch. There's also an animated video from the university, which you will find in those emails. You will find some pre-visa counseling questions, about 10 questions or so, asking you concise questions that you should have even thought about while you were writing your personal statement anyways, okay? Because we also understand that the UKVI can schedule anyone for a random credibility interview. And the scary thing about credibility interviews is that once you get a refusal for a credibility interview, the story is usually very long. I don't know how else to say it, because we will not reissue you another CAS if the reason for your visa refusal is based on credibility interview, except you go through an administrative review. And if you know what an admin review is, it's a very long journey. So we make sure we cross all our T's and dot all our I's, and that's why we're sharing all this information. And all of you just gloss through emails, you just look at the email, you skim for what you think is important, and you miss out on a lot of information. So please, good for those who have applied for their CAS and are applying for their visa or already got their visa. But if you are at the CAS request stage, if you have not completed these activities, not just sending us, yes, I've done it. Indeed, complete the activities. It's even good for self-reflection. You're spending about 50 million naira. I think it's worth the time, sitting down, asking yourself questions about the decision you're about to make. So that when UKVI schedules you for interview, if they schedule you for an interview, or they send you a not straightforward email, NSF email, asking for further information, you already have the right mindset about your application, and you know exactly how to respond in a very consistent manner. Okay? All right. So if you are awaiting your CAS and you think the CAS team is delaying, double check if you've completed your pre-CAS activities. If your document has been updated, maybe you renewed your passport, do you have a new passport, you need to let us know. If you have received your CAS and you just went ahead to I'm so happy for someone. We were able to resolve the situation last week, and person was able to change the appointment date, and I don't know if the person is on this call. So you see, when you get your CAS statements, don't just assume that everything is okay. Take your pen. If possible, print it out and read it line by line. Look at the spelling of your name, your date of birth, your course details, the duration, your finance detail. In this case that I was just talking about, the person's, of course, the tuition fee was quoted right. Amount that was paid was correct, but that amount didn't factor the scholarship discount this person got. And the person already submitted their visa application, booked appointment. And I told the person, oh, do you have a bank statement that makes provision for this extra scholarship that you've been given? And the person said no. And I was a bit worried, but thankfully we were able to, how would I say, change the biometric appointment date. We were able to move it forward to give the CAS team enough time to update the scholarship on his record, starting from the admissions team, and then the CAS team updated accordingly. So please, when you get your CAS statements, endeavor to settle down and look through every detail, so you don't have to come back, to do what you should have done in the first place, okay? So another category of unconditional offer holder we have would be the people who already have their CAS, but you have not applied for your visa. The reason we tell you to submit your bank statements and your TB test is because we want to see that you are ready. So when we see those documents, we assume that you are ready to apply for your CAS, for your visa. Okay, so but we see cases where people get their CAS and then they don't apply for their visa until like a month after. So for us, it means the document we checked, I mean, it's well, if you've not touched the money in the account, fine. But some people have already tampered. In fact, somebody with their full chest told me recently that, well, the CAS team has already checked my bank statement. So it's just the one I shared with the CAS team I'll be submitted. I've already moved the money out of the account. You know, when I heard that comment, I was shocked. I was more shocked than the person. And I said, sorry, I didn't get that. Say that again. Say that is it not the copy that the CAS team has seen that the UKVI team wants? I said, yes, it's fine. But I mean, I even always advise that you print out your bank statement within the same week, a fresh one. But don't touch the money in the accounts. It's not just the paper, the documents that you have shared with the CAS team. The money needs to maintain the same status until you get your passport back. So if you think, oh, I've submitted my bank statement to the CAS team, I don't need to, then that's it, I can do whatever I want with my money. That's a big joke. Oh. Please, visa application fee is very expensive. If that's what you have at the back of your mind, please abort mission. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so you have your CAS. We expect you to proceed with your visa application, and that's why things like the money you need to apply for your visa, the various visa fees, you should have done your research. You should already have the phone. Most importantly, you should already have access to a card that you would use to pay for your visa fee. A lot of people complete their visa form, fill the declaration, submit, only to find out that, oh, I need to go and look for a card that I will use to apply, that I will use to pay for my IHS, the visa fee, and whatever additional value-added service they're buying from VFS Global. And in the course of looking for that card, the form times out and you have to start all over again. Please, before you start your visa application, before you submit, you can start your visa application form and save it. But before you submit, be sure that you have a card that is enabled for international transaction. If you don't have one, you can apply, like I said earlier, you can apply for a USD card from your bank, but double check the terms and conditions of your bank's USD card, or you can maybe use a third party's card. Like I said, when you are using a third party, always make sure you are sure of the contacts you are using so that your money will not just vanish in case the situation changes. Okay. All right, so some unconditional offer holders are awaiting their visa application outcome, and at this phase of your application, I mean, in the registration form questions, I see people asking, what's the meaning of NSF? Not straightforward. So normally the turnaround time for visa application is 15 working days. Earlier, I mean, in earlier weeks, people have gotten their visa a lot earlier, but you see, because some people got their visa maybe in 5 working days, even though they didn't pay for priority, does not mean your own will be like that. I mean, everybody desires a miracle. You understand what I mean? But I'm just saying, I say this to manage my expectation. And when people talk to me, I said, look, if it's taking longer than your friend's outcome, nothing is wrong. I would not worry about anything until it is past 15 working days. 15 working days, it doesn't include weekend, it doesn't include public holidays. Okay? So while you're waiting, you're checking your email consistently, because it might be that they're asking for additional information. Sometimes they send you that NSF when they know that NSF means not straightforward. They send you that message when they feel maybe there's something not straightforward about your application. They need more time, and it will take maybe a little more than that 15 working days. And sometimes you get that NSF email and you still get your visa in good time. All we're saying is check your emails regularly, okay? And if you're asked for any document, please provide documents, and make sure you're submitting documents that are authentic, documents that are genuine, and make sure your story is consistent. I always say it, everybody's application journey is different. So sometimes I get phone calls and I can tell that these people have gleaned of information from different groups, or maybe maybe the Salford Telegram group, which I'm going to reopen again after this meeting. And some people are in 20 other groups where they get information and they come confused. And you can tell the confusion from the nature of the questions they're asking. Please, less is more, okay? And I can't stay here to just tell you this is what you require for every circumstance. There are standard documents everyone needs. Document listed on your CAS, your financial documents, and any other documents around that. If you have a unique situation in your life, maybe you're an entrepreneur, you want to talk about the fact that, okay, this is what you do. The way you're going to present your documents will be different from someone who is employed, okay? Everybody's situation is different. It's not a one size fits all. But whatever you do, be consistent in your story, be authentic with the quality of documents you're submitting, even if it was someone who helped you. Make sure you verify, because you are the one who signed your declaration in the visa application form. So if something comes back, nobody will listen to you and say, oh, somebody helped me to fill the form. That was not me, that was my agent. Or take responsibility for your visa application. It is a serious business, okay? So we're hoping that those awaiting their visa outcome will get feedback in good time, and it will be a successful feedback by God's grace. All right, so and we have a lot of people. In fact, I'm going to have some time with the people who got their visa, because one of the questions someone asked in the registration question is there a group for those who have gotten their visa? And I feel that person's pause, because this person has gotten their visa, and they feel like, I want to talk to other people who have gotten their visa so that we are reasoning together and all that. No problem. I'll give that a thought. I mean, it's always good to be in a community that is relevant to the processes you are following through. We'll think about that. Okay, so congratulations to those of you who already have a successful visa outcome. If you got a visa refusal, we have to talk about it, because it's a reality. Some people, no matter after all said and done, they still make mistakes, or they still are not detailed about one or two things, or maybe they didn't pay attention to some errors in their, maybe it might be an error, even it might be their immigration history, okay? Sometimes when people get visa refusal, it might not be as a result of this current visa they've applied for. Maybe there's something wrong. No, it might be because of your immigration history. Maybe you've had multiple visa refusals. And that's why in your application form, we always ask you if you've had a visa refusal. And sometimes the CAS team will even tell you to get in touch with us in the team to listen to what the visa refusal is like and counsel you. Okay, so if you get a visa refusal, it's not still the end of the world. It depends on the type of visa refusal. Just make sure your visa refusal is not anything that has to do with fraudulent documents, misrepresentation, and all those negative things. If it's a visa refusal based on insufficient funds, which I don't expect to happen, because by now I think I sound like a cracked record when I keep saying always err on the side of caution, avoid borderline bank statements. Those are my lines in the emails, in my responses to you guys on the phone. Please, when you are planning for your proof of funds, always err on the side of caution. Yes, Rwanda is 2000, let's say 2050 or 2090. Budget for 2002. Oh, I don't have that money. If there is a problem, if there is a Nigeria effects doesn't, like, it's always changing. And you don't want that to change on you. And you have a defined time you're following through this process. So why wouldn't you sleep well by just making provision for more for the period till you get your visa? Okay. So, well, we don't expect to see visa refusals that is as a result of insufficient funds and things like that. I think that will be, for me, that's just an avoidable waste. But I mean, if you have visa refusals for any reason around this, you can still remedy it. But please note, you can't use the same CAS number that you have used for the previous visa application. You can't use one CAS twice. If you got a visa refusal, the first thing you want to do is to send an email to the CAS team with the visa refusal for them to assess for you, okay? They'll assess for you, and they can advise what you need to do. If it's a very minimal reason for the refusal, there's high chance that they will reissue your CAS. If you will refuse for credibility reasons, the CAS team will not reissue your CAS except you complete an administrative review. And the UKVI gives you a time frame for which you should complete the administrative review. Okay. If you received visa refusal for misrepresentation, for fraudulent documents, that can attract up to a 10-year ban. University will most likely not refund your deposits. I hope that's not our case anyway. I don't like talking about visa refusals. And we have all conditional offer holders who they've come this far, but they can't, maybe the POF is not available after all said and done. They want to defer until another intake. That's fine. So if you have an unconditional offer, best to just complete that. Like I said earlier, you can complete that on your portal. If you've applied through an agent, you can tell your agent to access your portal, because if you apply to an agent, they will be the one who have access to your portal for now until you get to the registration point much later in the year. Okay, and we also have unconditional offer holders who want to cancel their application or offer entirely. Please note that terms and conditions apply. I spoke with someone yesterday, as I was saying earlier. The person just felt, oh no, I don't want to continue again. I said, why? Are you ill? Is something wrong? What's the reason? You know, I mean, I was just curious. And the person just said, I'm not, I just changed my mind. I said, so what's going to happen to your deposit? He said, so that's why I'm calling you. I want you to help me. Please note, we don't refund tuition fee deposit except you didn't meet the offer conditions, or you got a visa refusal, but not for all this other fraudulent misrepresentation reasons. Please take note, okay? So that's it. We've gone through all the offer stages. I'm sure you will fall into one of this category, and you'll be able to take a cue from there what you need to do at this stage. Okay, now let's talk about the deadlines. I'd like to talk about the deadlines now. Let me see if I can share my screen again. At the moment, the class deadline is 14th of July. If you remember, this deadline was extended from the 23rd of June. Sorry, I need to share. Okay, I'll do the sharing soon. So the CAS deadline, the current CAS deadline is the 14th of July. Remember, the deadline was extended from the 23rd of June till this new deadline. And we still have people asking us, can the CAS deadline be extended? Even if we extend it by one more week, we'll still have people somebody still asked me last week, can I apply for my CAS by the 5th of August? So it's never going to end. If you feel you can't meet the current deadline, like I said, please feel free to defer your admission. And you don't need to send us an email to defer your admission. You can defer your admission on the application portal, okay? You can defer your admission on the application portal. I know the CAS team has said if there are people who have some exigencies or extreme situation, not the general, I just need more time. Extreme situations maybe that can be looked into. Well, that will be at the discretion of the CAS team to see if they can give you additional time. But at the moment, the CAS deadline is the 14th. We can't guarantee that that will be extended at this time. But if you think you have an extreme situation, a genuine reason why you need to apply for your CAS on the 15th or 16th, I'm sure Quentin, Mark, and I are not guaranteeing that that will be granted. But you can send an email to the CAS team and see what they say. But we are not sure, we were not getting any further extension at the moment. So that's why I went through all those offer stages with you, so you know where you fall and you know the exact action you need to take. So I really feel for those who just got their offer, because they'll feel like, oh, well, I just got my offer. Why can't I be given more time? Your application to us has come at a very late time. One thing about Salford is the fact that our deadlines are always very early on in the cycle. In fact, some courses filled up as early as April ending. So courses like project management closed already somewhere in May. Okay, that's another thing I want to talk about. So for those of you who have conditional offer, you met all the academic conditions. The only condition left is your tuition fee condition. Please note, you need to double check that your course is still available to receive deposits before you pay. Because we don't want to deal with situations where someone says, oh, why didn't they tell me that the course is already filled up? Now I paid my deposit and they gave me an offer for January 2026. Yes, that's what the admission teams will do. If your course is one that is already filled up for September and you pay your deposit, we will take your deposit, update your record, but give you an unconditional offer for the next intake. So if you're the type that is not ready, is either September or nothing, if you are the all or nothing type, you need to ensure that you check on the intakes available page. Again, that's a very useful website for you as an applicant, as an offer holder. The intakes available web page. So when you access the university website, you type intakes available and you see a drop down list of the September 2025 courses. Okay, thank you so much, Mark, for putting thank you for putting that in the chat box. Okay, you would find a drop down list and you would see on those lists we update that page in real time. So you will find your course there and see if the course is still open for you to pay your deposit. So don't just go ahead and pay your deposit if you know that you are not willing to defer to another intake. We don't want to deal with cases where people are upset, oh, you took my money. If you knew there was no space, why did you allow me pay? On your offer letter, we clearly stated that we will confirm places on the program on a first come, first serve basis. And we also said in the offer letter, we can't tell you, we don't have a deposit deadline. Neither do we have an application deadline. Application deadline is when the course is filled up. And when the course is filled up, we will update the intakes available page in real time. So please, what we expect from you is a little effort. So before you take the next step, ask yourself, what am I supposed to double check before I take the next step? And if you are one that wants to make sure you do everything in this next 2 weeks, please ensure you are double checking the information on the web page, on the intakes available page before you proceed to make financial commitment. It is very, very important. Okay. All right. And I also need to talk about those the UG applicants on this call. So those of you who've done a foundation program and you're coming from the UG, I understand that your results won't be available until somewhere July. I know some people said to me their results will be ready at the end of July. The good thing is that most of your deadlines are in August. Okay. So once you have your final results and you meet the grades being demanded by the program you have applied for, please ensure you upload your final results and then pay your deposits and we can issue your CAS as soon as possible. Understand that for UG students or foundation students, you have a very short timeline because if your result is coming out at the end of July, I expect that your POF should already be running. Why did I say that? Because if your result comes out, let's say end of July, and that's when you decide to start your POF, it means you can't even apply for your CAS anymore. So if you're on this call and you're a UG applicant, foundation student, foundation offer holder, UG offer holder, please start your proof of funds now so that it will coincide with when your results will be ready. So when your result is ready and the results are okay, you're also ready to proceed with your CAS request at the same time. Okay. And for our research offer holders, of course, you know that you guys have a bigger project. Some of you are applying with dependents and you need more money. You have to show proof of funds for what you, especially if you're applying to your family now, you have to show proof of funds for yourself. You have to show for your dependents applying with you. You have to pay IHS, not just for yourself, but for your entire family and for the duration of your study, especially for PhD holders. So imagine how much your IHS will be for a 3 years course. So please, if you're not thinking about this cost, please, after this meeting, take your pen and notepad and your calculator. I always have my calculator on my desk because this process is an active process that needs you to be very calculative and precise. Okay. I want to see if I can share my screen again. Let me see if I can share my screen again. I'd like to just be sure that I've covered up. I can see that a lot of questions are being answered in the chat box already. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. I think we've talked. Sorry. Okay. So we've talked through all this now. We've talked through all this. We've gone through all that now. The visa application process, that's pretty much straightforward. The questions you'll be completing in the questions you'll be completing in the visa forms are your personal details, the questions that you have answers from your CAS already when you get to the study part of the application. And please be honest. If you fail, I always recommend you use the additional information box. If you feel there's more information you need to share with UKVI and the questions asked doesn't cover, and if the additional information box is too small for you to contain the words that you want to use to express the additional information you want to share, you can you're free to type your additional information sheet on a Microsoft Word document and include it as one of your attachments, and you can just put in the additional information box. Please find additional information sheets in the document section. That's all. Okay. Don't just assume that, oh, you have more to say to provide clarification. So for example, so that you don't get emails like NSF, because the reason some people get NSF emails is because some things don't just match. And you could have made things better by explaining, but it's not the kind of explanation where you go and say things you're not supposed to say. But I'm sure those I'm speaking to understand what I'm saying. Okay, I think we've talked about visa application process, visa refusals, refunds. Before I talk about accommodation plans, for visa application, for those who might approach the CAS team and the CAS team gives them a further extension, a slight extension, please note that the CAS team will be telling you to use priority services. And I'm sure all of us on this call, let me not assume, know what the cost is. There are two types of priority services. There is a priority service, which allows your visa application to be turned around in 5 working days. The standard turnaround time is 15 working days. The priority service allows your visa application to be turned around in 5 working days. That costs you extra £500 apart from your visa application fee. Now, if you want your visa application to be treated in like 48 hours, like even at a shorter turnaround time, you can pay for the super priority service. That costs you an extra £1,000 apart from your visa fee. So if you're asking the CAS team for an extension and by chance they grant that extension, please note that they will be advising you to use priority services. And let me just say here, it's us. Outside of this webinar, a lot of us will still talk. I know a lot of people will just say, oh yes, I'm going to use the priority services, but they don't end up using the priority service. This is where there will be a problem. I know I see Quentin is raising his hand. Quentin, I'm just going to I'm going to have you say what you want to say now. If you agree to use the priority service and you don't use the priority service, and for some reason you arrive late, and we can track, because everything we do with you is time stamped, and we can track that you've applied for your CAS late, applied for your visa late, and you didn't use priority services, I'm sorry. Your permission to arrive late might not be granted. Quentin, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to actually add it to that, Adidaya. For terms of arriving late, please don't beg, please, etc. to arrive late. If you've done everything late, you've not applied for priority visa, you've not applied for super priority visa, you've waited on flights that have been cheaper, or whatever the reasoning behind it is, please don't think that you're going to automatically arrive late, because even if it's 1 day, 5 days, 10 days, it doesn't matter. The school does not have to accept you, which means that everything you paid up to that point will be wasted, and you will have to come back at the next intake. You will not be allowed to come into the UK. Your visa you'll be denied entry. So your visa will be withdrawn, and then you're going to spend all that money on flights. You're going to get to the entry points at UK, and they're going to turn you around and put you on the next flight. You don't want that to happen. So just, if you're going to, the only way to say this is, and Adideo knows, I call a spade, a fork a fork. The only way to do it, there's no cutting corners. do things the right way the first time. Otherwise, if you try to cut corners, it's going to end up costing you more in the long run. Okay, that's the only thing I want to add to that. There's been a lot of questions. I've answered so many questions here, Mark and I, about CAS delays. When you apply for your CAS, I'm just going to say this one more time so everyone is 100% clear about this. When you apply for your CAS, you'll be given an email by the CAS team that will say what their expected completion date is. And that could be the 30th of July. It could be the 5th of August. It doesn't matter. At the moment, the CAS team, or sometimes they're doing, depending on if your case is straightforward, if all your documents are in order, your bank statement, everything, sometimes they're turning it around in 2 weeks. Sometimes they're turning around 3 weeks. Sometimes even, a few weeks ago, they were doing it within 4 days. If you applied early enough, you would have got it within 4 days. If you applied like probably around the middle of June, things started to get a bit busier, then you'll be waiting a little bit longer. Okay, so for the CAS now, the date on the thing, don't panic. The date on the thing is your expected completion date. Doesn't mean that's going to be the date. It's normally long before that. Okay, so no panicking, nothing like that. Someone said why the CAS team need to work quicker. The CAS team are working completely at capacity at the moment. They're working as fast as they can. The only way to get a quicker turnaround time is apply earlier. It's as simple as that. And it's something I've always said for many, many years. If you want a quicker turnaround time, apply during the off-peak times. That's when you'll get your turnaround. At Salford, we issue CAS 6 months in advance. So you can apply up to 6 months in advance. You can have all your stuff sorted and apply for your visa and everything. The longer you leave it, the longer you're going to wait, really. That's the top and bottom of it. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you, Adidaya.
All right. Thank you so much, Quentin. Thank you for that for that word. That's so important. Like, we can't overemphasize the fact that you need to do things early. Unfortunately, some people think, oh, how will I get to the UK and I won't be allowed to register? Some people were not allowed to register in January. And even for me, I felt very bad for them. Okay. That's why we keep sending you these emails. We keep putting up the sessions just to make sure you're in the know of what you need to do and you do it in good time. Okay. So I was going to talk about accommodation plans, especially for those who already have their visa. So if you already have your visa, what you should be actively doing now is to look for accommodation options. I know that the accommodation availability at the university is not massive, so the accommodation at the university gets used up, gets booked quickly. But if you still want to double check with the accommodation team, they're the only one that can confirm what's the capacity, what availability exists at the moment. You can check that out on the university website, send them an email and find out what is still available and what works for your budget. Other than that, you need to be looking for a private rented accommodation. And I know this is a very dicey decision because for you to rent a private accommodation, it's easier when you're on ground. One of the questions in the registration question was, how do accommodation is stressing me out. That's the way the person put it. I don't know what to do. This is what I would say. You can start looking out for the available options now on sites, just so you know how much and you can plan your budget and all. But essentially, you must make provision for an accommodation on arrival. It might not be the standard accommodation you would live in all through your program, all through the semester, the first semester, but a short stay accommodation, maybe an Airbnb for like 2 weeks, or the Telegram group will be reopened today finally. Okay. We need to close it because there were just a lot of activities that were not okay. We could tell that not everybody are really following through the admission process. Some people ask very funny questions, but we'll reopen the group today so that conversations can start again. And we hope that everyone will be respectful of the group and not share information that we should not be sharing. Okay. So those of you who already have your visas can connect and start talking. You can share accommodation with one another, but I mean, be sure who you are, because we won't take responsibility for the connections you make on the group. I also know that people create other groups from the group. For example, I've seen people creating groups from the same course. That's fine, but we will not take responsibility for anything that happens there. Okay, we only take responsibility for what happens in the group, and we don't expect you to share your personal information as much as possible. Okay, so for accommodation, please do not plan to arrive in the UK without a plan on where you would stay for the first few days or for the first 2 weeks. This is one of the questions you get asked at the point of entry. If you have family, easy for that's better for you. But for those of us who might not have family on arrival, you have to sort yourself out. Please make sure you have some sort of bookings. And the thing about this booking is when you book on time, you get cheaper. You can get rooms as cheap as £25. You don't have to pay hotel rates, accommodation. If you book on time, you can get rooms. But I mean, of course, you know that prices are a reflection of the quality you will get sometimes. Some of these websites show pictures or they give you views, but as you know, sometimes images don't do justice to the reality of things. But at least you should have an accommodation on arrival. That's what I'm saying. You should have an accommodation on arrival. You should budget for a reasonable amount that you would use for accommodation for the first 2 weeks. And so when you arrive Manchester, you can then, while you are doing your registration, your induction, you can then move around to start looking for your accommodation physically. Because if you decide to start and complete it online, the question is, who is going to do the viewing for you? Good enough if you have a friend, family, trusted contacts that can help you do the viewing and you're satisfied with whatever feedback they give you and you are ready to make that financial commitment, that's fine. But please do not give your money to strangers. Do not complete the accommodation, because the accommodation is a contract at the end of the day. Don't complete that process until you are sure that you are satisfied and there's someone who has verified the state of the accommodation you are paying for. Okay. If you check on the university website, I'll maybe at some point I'll put in the chat box. I don't know, Mark Quentin, if you can help me put the link to the accommodation on the website. We have different category of information on the accommodation website. We have the accommodation, university accommodation information. We also have a whole bank of information for those who intend to apply to look for private rented. Thank you very much, Mark. Private rented accommodation, and you will find a lot of useful tips, what you need to do to avoid being scammed, because a lot of people get scammed with the accommodation process. So as much as anxious and desperate as you are, don't get too desperate to the point where you are not patient to follow through the process. You're not sure who is helping you. Even if you intend to complete the process before you arrive, please be sure who you are giving your money to, who you're paying money to. Please ensure you look at this. Every information you're looking for, shortlet, Airbnb, suggestions, you will find those information on the accommodation web page. Okay, and if there's something not clear, you can always come back to us and we will be able to offer you additional perspective. Okay, so I just want to look through a lot of questions that have been asked. A lot of questions that were asked in the registration form. Will we attend a class interview? I've answered that question. No, we don't have class interview, but we share with you videos, animated videos, an Instagram live video, which we did in the past, which we'll be replacing very soon with a more detailed content. We expect you to watch those videos to furnish yourself with all the information you need to have regarding your visa application and possible credibility interview if UKVI schedules you for an interview. Someone is asking what could possibly result to getting a non-straightforward email from visa officers that they are unable to make a decision. It could be for so many reasons. They might be trying to verify your bank statement and your bank has not come back to them. In fact, I've seen someone who got a visa refusal because the bank didn't reply and they waited and waited and waited, and the person was given a visa refusal. By the time the person went to the head office of that bank, they confirmed that, oh, yes, they actually got an email, but maybe, and some banks will even lie that they didn't get the email. So it might be, I just use bank as an example. It doesn't mean that every not straightforward email is, they could be verifying a document. They could be doing some background checks on your application. So it's different for everyone. I would say again, everybody's application journey is different. It's not always the same. What are we expected to pack when we are traveling? This is not a question we're going to deal with here. We're going to have a pre-picture session in August. You know, you can only travel to the UK from 1 month to your start date. Okay, the vignette you have will only carry, I think, 90 days until you, but anyway, they're transitioning to the e-visa now, so all that will change. But everything has to do with registration, what will I pack, arrival information, we'll talk about that in August when we have a pre-departure session. Okay, when you apply for CAS, how long does it take to come out? That question has been answered. The CAS team always communicates. I need assistance with short-time accommodation, pending when I'll get your permanent space. Check the university accommodation link. You have all the information you need about short-let accommodation you can explore on arrival. What are the things expected of students to do in school once you arrive at Salford? Okay, those are things we will tackle in the pre-departure session. We're going to have the university is going to have one pre-departure session, which is usually an Instagram live, and we'll also have one like this. And if possible, we can even get one of the current students or one of the student union members who are Nigerians to come talk to us as well. Fingers crossed for that. We'll see how that goes. Okay. I was given a CAS date. The CAS date has passed. No email, no CAS. Double check. Have you done all you need to do? Have you completed the pre-CAS activity? Have you sent a confirmation reply to IRD-Africa that you've completed the pre-CAS activity? Did you respond to emails from the CAS team asking for further documents? Double check, because the CAS team would most often 4 out of 5 times come back at the date or even before the dates they give you. Okay. All right, my CAS release date was stated for. So anything that has to do with CAS dates, we've answered that question. I'm going to skip that. What's the next thing after getting my visa? Start planning for your accommodation. Most importantly, start planning your flight. You know, Quinty just said something about people wanting to get cheap flight tickets, which is a good move. Okay, but people will say there are people who have gotten their visa for months. Then when it gets to September, because maybe obviously for maybe finance reason, they were not able to get funds and all that. So maybe they eventually get the funds early September. Then they are looking for a ticket at the end of September, because if you book the ticket immediately, maybe like a week before you travel, it's usually very expensive. Please factor that in now. Book your ticket in advance so that you can arrive early enough for your induction and for the teaching date. All this information you would find in your offer letter and your CAS. Do we need to send the visa stamp to the school? No, you don't need to do that. How many months are we going to pay for the remaining school payments? We have 7 installments for postgraduate applicants, and for UG applicant, that's undergraduate applicant, is 5 installments. Initial deposit is 5,500. The next installment is due 1 month after you register at the university. And then from that 1 month, just divide your remaining balance into 7. Someone asks, how much is it going to be? Just divide your remaining tuition fee balance by 7 if you are a postgraduate student. If you are undergraduate applicants, so UG, top-up nursing and the rest, divide your balance by 5. Okay. What's the deadline for paying initial deposit? We've answered that question. We don't have deadline for deposit. Scholarship opportunities, the only scholarship opportunities we have are the discount, automatic discounts we apply, which is 2,500 and 3,000 for 2,2 and 2,1 holders respectively. Okay, deadline for CAS 14th of July. Would there be a discussion on accommodation during the seminar? We just talked about accommodation now, and you have a link to serve as a reference point for you. More questions on accommodation. Can one use a support letter and account statement from their sponsor to apply for your CAS? Now, this is a very contextual question. Account statement from your sponsor. The only bank statement you can use for your visa application is your personal account. If you're not using money in your personal account, the only other account you can use will be your parents' account. And if you're using your parents' account, you need to support that with your government birth certificate. You were born in Nigeria, your MPC birth certificate. If you didn't get an MPC certificate and you go back to get it now that you're an adult, I think most likely they'll issue you a letter of attestation, and it will have a QR code we can scan to verify that it's authentic. Okay, so if you're using your parents' financial documents, you support with birth certificate and a letter of consent and sponsorship from them. Okay, so I don't know the kind of sponsor this question is referring to. You can't use any other bank statement. Your uncle cannot sponsor you, your auntie, your in-laws cannot sponsor you. You can only use your personal account, not even a company account you are a sole signatory to. You can only use a personal account. Someone asked a question in the box. Can I use a joint account? Now the question is, Actually, it's a yes, because your name is on that account. But you see, I just like things being on a straight line. Use account that has your name, because the question is, do you have, what kind of access do you have to the account and all that? That might be things that, UKVI wants to verify, and then you have an NSF email and all of that. Use accounts that have your name, okay? For younger students, I know there are some banks who don't open accounts for under 18s. Some banks will open accounts and it's a joint account with the parents. That's fine, okay? Because we have birth certificates to show relationship, to prove relationship, and the letter of consent and sponsorship will be accompanying that as well, okay? I know someone also asked me, can I use investments? We can't answer that question. I cannot answer that question except I see the kind of investment certificate you're talking about. So things like treasury bills, no. But if you're using a fixed deposit account, because what I've seen over the years is that different banks present their fixed deposit accounts differently. It is best for you to get in touch if you're using a fixed deposit account, so we can see how the information is presented. But one key thing to note about the fixed deposit account is that money must mature before start date. So for example, if you fix money for 6 months, the 6 month ending must be before your start date. If you're fixed money for 1 year and the money is going to mature in January, you will get a refusal for using that kind of fixed deposit. So if you're not sure, please feel free to get in touch. More often than not, I will just easily say no to a fixed deposit account because of the way different banks present the information. It can be quite confusing. But the key thing to note is that the maturity date of the fund must be way ahead of your start date, and it's always best to have a letter from the bank accompanying such statements. Okay. I've paid my initial deposit. I've not gotten feedback. If you've paid your deposit, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, send an email to the finance team. The email address is always on your offer letter. Again, I'm saying, please always read through your offer letter and click on all the embedded links in your offer letter. Can this meeting be recorded? Yes, it will be recorded. Would communicate to you later what platform you can watch the replay. There's no deadline for tuition deposit. What if you're unable to get your bank statement before the CAS deadline, July 14? Will the school be able to extend? I've answered that question. Are there any other scholarship, preferably fully funded? Even me, I'm looking for a fully funded scholarship. I'm just joking. We don't have fully funded scholarship. We only have the automatic discounts, okay? Fully funded scholarship opportunities could be the ones you get from Nigeria, like NDDC, PTDF, TED Fund, if you meet the requirements. International ones will be scholarships like Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, Chevening, and the likes. And we know that some international companies also offer scholarship like NNNG and the rest. So those are other opportunities you can explore if you're looking for a fully funded scholarship. I think I've answered that question. Okay, somebody is asking a question about Prodigy loan offer letter. Okay, now we all know that, not we all. Prodigy loan offer letter differs from one person to other. Okay, so based on the assessment Prodigy has done, what they offer you is different from the next. So some people get offered only half of their tuition fee. Some people get loan which covers the entire tuition fee, but not the living cost. Whatever loan you get from Prodigy, for you to be able to use that to request your CAS, you have to also show evidence of the rest of the other funds that has not been covered by your Prodigy loan letter. So if only half of your tuition fee has been covered, it means we also need to be looking at the bank statement that covers your remaining half of your tuition fee and your living costs and has met the 28-day requirements. Okay. Will there be public health in January? No. You can always check the cost page for when the next available intake will be. How do I secure accommodation? We've answered that question. A lot of repeated questions here. I'm just going to scroll over. How can I get fully funded scholarship to sponsor my studies? I've answered that question. Okay, my flight is landing London Heathrow September 7th, 5:30. Will the university shuttle bus be at the airport? Well, we didn't offer airport pickup services in January 2025 intake. I wouldn't know what the plan is for September 2025, but we will definitely let you know by the time we start sending you the registration information, which will be not too long from now. Okay, so watch out for that information. Congratulations on your visa. It means you already got your visa. How many days will it take for your CAS to be released? The CAS team will communicate that to us. How can I defer your admission? If I get £1 for every time I get this question, I'm sure I'll have £100,000 now. You can complete that on your portal. if you've applied directly. If you apply through an agent, get in touch with your agent and they'll help you complete the deferral requests. Why was it that after deposit payment was made, admissions sent an email of no more place for September intake? That's because you didn't check the intake available page to see if your course was still receiving deposit for your program. Okay, so for people who intend to make payments now, please refer to the intakes available page to see if your course is still open to receiving deposits before you pay, if you know that you will not accept deferral to another intake. Because if you pay and the course is filled up, you will get an unconditional offer for the next available intake. Okay, how can I be picked up from the airport to your apartment? Well, like I said, we don't know if we'll be offering airport pickup services, but you can easily go to the airport either through taxi, bus, train. We'll talk about all that during the pre-departure. I think most of the questions here now, they are pretty much repetition. We've covered most. What can cause visa refusal? Well, that's a whole presentation. I've answered lack of genuine document, misrepresentation, false information, previous immigration history, insufficient funds, error on your visa application, on and on and on and on. These are some of the reasons that can cause visa refusal. How can I complete my online registration? That has not started. You will get an email from the university when we start the online registration. Will there be a group for MSc quantity surveying? Maybe when we open the Telegram group today, you can chat with people. You can drop a chat and other people who are your classmates would respond to you and you get together, but will not be responsible for those extra groups being created. Okay. I've applied for my CAS on the 20th of June and today is 24th. I have not gotten it. Many people on the group got theirs within 24 hours. I just want to know why mine is taking longer than usual. Did you get an email from the CAS telling you what date you would get your CAS? Are you a direct student or an agent student? These are things we've talked about. So double check, troubleshoot your own situation, and you'll find an answer to that question. Okay, this is a very good question. After a successful visa application, when someone decides to travel, is it necessary to have the proof of funds inside the account during the course of traveling? Well, is it necessary? The quick answer is yes and no. No, because it's not a default requirement that you would show your bank statements at the point of entry. But we've had cases of people who were asked, maybe that was not the first question, maybe for some suspicious reason, they've been asking them one or two questions, and then the visa officer the border agent staff just feels like, okay, can I see your proof of funds? It's not a regular question that people get asked. But you see, I don't think I would want to be a scapegoat if I get asked a question and the money is not there. So it depends on what works for you. If you can as much as possible, yes, make sure you have your financial documents intact. But if not, it's up to you, really. I think this is a personal question. We don't have a fixed rule around having your proof of funds available to show at the point of entry. It's not a standard requirement, but we get cases where people get asked randomly, and you don't want to be that one person that will be asked and then you'll be stranded. So just follow your heart. Okay. Accommodation challenges, we've talked about that. Post visa registration, you will get more information much later this month or early August, and we'll get more information during the pre-departure briefing about jobs available for students on campus. We'll talk about that during the pre-departure briefings. How long does it take? The CAS team will get back to you about that. Can I pay my deposit this month and defer till January? Yes, you can. You can. At least we'll know that your deposit has come in for that course. So for popular courses in the business school like project management, HRM, these courses get filled up very quickly. So if you are not able to follow through with the September intake, don't tell yourself that January is so far away. I can just chill. No. In fact, January applicants are the one that have the shortest window period to process this thing. So just imagine that you are just starting your proof of funds for January intake in October. So it's ready at the end of October. You apply for your CAS end of October, beginning of November. You get your CAS maybe somewhere mid-November to like third week in November. And then you apply for your visa. Let's assume that your visa doesn't come out quickly, like 4 days, 5 days, the way others. It takes the whole 15 working days. Can you see how much time it has eaten, even into the holidays? So my counsel to those of us who after this call would decide that, look, deferring my program is the best decision for me now. Ensure you are also kickstarting the January process as soon as possible. We've started issuing offers for January already. And once we close, that's why we want to round up the CAS issuance for September intake as soon as possible so that we can start issuing CASs for January. You see the reason why we cannot keep extending the CAS deadline. I'm finding it difficult to pay my fees with Flywire. I need assistance to meet up. I don't know what the problem is here. Flywire seems to be a very seamless payment option. So please get in touch. Yes, because I don't know what problem you're talking about here specifically. Can I defer my admission once again? I've deferred twice. No. If you've deferred twice, you need to start a new application. My question is UKVI account, where and when can I create it? Okay, for the e-visa thing. I can't answer that question here now, but you can actually check www.gov.uk. That's a very good point of reference for questions like this, how to create your UKVI account for e-visa and all. And there are people in the group who have already started that process. When we open the group today, you can ask that question and you find someone who can guide you, okay? All right, I'm just looking through all this question.
Just Adidaya, quickly, while
Yeah.
you're looking through the questions, I just want to add in, just coming back to that, having proof of funds when you arrive in the UK. Just something to note is that we've attended a meeting, I think it was as early as last week, where it is becoming more and more common for the border officials to ask for proof of funds on an ad hoc basis. And this is not to make you worried or anything, it's just so that you can manage your expectations as well, because when you get a visa for the UK, for example, a visa allows you to come to the UK. It does not necessarily grant you access. The final decision rests with that border official. Even if you've got a visa in your passport, if that border official does not deem you a credible student, they can turn you around at the point of entry. It doesn't happen very often, but personally, I would have my proof of funds printed out, ready, in case they need to check it, so that I've got all my ducks in a row, that there's nothing they can do to kind of turn me away or anything. I would always err on the side of caution. So I'd always keep the proof of funds in my account until after I've arrived in the UK, until after I've cleared a border post and picked up my bag. Once I'm leaving the airport, then I'll transfer funds to wherever I needed to go to. That would be my advice. However, it is only advice. We're all adults. We can take the risk upon ourselves what we want to do. But that is my advice to yourselves. Okay. I myself, you probably heard from my accent, I'm not originally from the UK. I'm originally from South Africa. When I came to the UK, I did exactly the same. I kept all my proof of funds in the account until after I've arrived. I had to go through the English language test. I had to go through the entire process that you're going through now. So that's my advice. You can take it or not take it. It's entirely up to you. But I would rather you err on the side of caution, and I'll see you in September. It's as simple as that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Quentin. Thank you so much. That's so useful. And that's the truth. Questions being asked at the point of entry are so unpredictable. I tried to follow through with the June 2025 intake, and a lot of them pretty much had a very smooth point of entry interview. Some of them was very straightforward, but more and more, things are changing. So like Quentin said, it's best for us to err on the side of caution. I'm looking through this question. I think a lot of them are repetitive here at this point. We've answered most of the question, if not all. Someone said I couldn't join the Telegram group even though the link was sent to me. Please resolve. You couldn't join the Telegram group because you probably clicked on the link long after it had expired. So when the link is sent to you, we give you a deadline to, so maybe you didn't catch that email on time. At the moment, the link I shared recently is still very much valid until the end of this week. So, and the group will be reopened this week, today actually. So we will, and the conversations can continue again. All right, I think we have covered everything. Some people are raising their hands. If you have any question, please drop your question in the chat box. Okay, so we'll pick it up from that because we're not taking audio questions Okay, I'm just looking through all the questions. Can the precast form be filled and submitted while I'm waiting for my bank statement? No, you can't fill the cast form while you're waiting for your bank statement. Okay, yeah, I remember. One thing we've observed from the cast team is they send back your bank statements because you've sent a bank statement that only covers 27 days. That happens a lot of time. Please, please. I mean, for those of you on Telegram group, you know I've done the illustration for you, and I think I pinned those messages. If you join the group, I mean, now that the group is still closed, you won't have too many messages that would have blocked that message. Please go back to that message and read the explanation, the detailed explanation I put there for how to calculate your 28 days. You see, let's say your money gets into the account. Today is July 1st. Your money got into the account the 1st of July. Your 28 days will be complete. You start counting on the 2nd of July, not the day the money enters the account. And your 28 days will be, it's not 28 working days, it's 28 days. So weekends, public holidays are included. Someone told me yesterday, oh, someone in the group told me it's just working days. No, please. Your 28 days is days. So weekends are included. You drop your money July 1st, you start counting, day one starts counting on the 2nd. Your 28 days is complete on the 29th of July. What I usually advise, this is not a UKVI rule, but to avoid all this back and forth, carry out a transaction on the 29th day. So using the dates we are using now, today is July 1st. I put my money today, July 1st. My day one starts counting July 2nd. My 28 days is complete on the 29th of July. On that day, you carry out a deposit transaction, print out your statement on the 30th. Okay, that gives you, so your money has been there for at least a little more than 28 days. I also see cases where people don't want to print out their statement from when the money was deposited in the account. So they don't want the lump sum to show for whatever personal reasons that is. It's not like it's an official rule. People feel, oh, it's a rule. I'm not supposed to allow my lump sum show. Well, whether or not you allow your lump sum show, sometimes UKVI still comes back to ask you for the source of your fund. I got an email this afternoon telling me, oh, how do I respond to UKVI asking me what's the source of my fund? So sometimes, even if you don't show the lump sum, the UKVI can still ask you, what's the source of your fund? What jobs have you been doing? And then they ask you to provide evidence. Now, this is not me saying you should show your lump sum. Even if you don't want to show the lump sum, why don't you allow the money stay a bit longer? There is no rule that says the money can't stay more than 28 days. So when you say, oh, I just want to print out the statement on the 28th day, no. The minimum number of days the money should be in the account is 28 days. It can be more. So if you let it stay 1 or 2 days extra, okay, you will avoid the case where the casting is returning your bank statements because you only sent one for 27 days, and then you go back to the queue. So for those of you that want quick cast turnaround time, these are precautions you can take to shorten that process, so we don't have repeat jobs. Okay, those of you raising your hands, please drop your question in the chat box. Okay. I want to know, treasury bill, no. We've answered that. Investment certificate, no. Okay. Once we share the link to the new precast video you'll be watching, you have all these questions answered. I want to know why I was not giving automatic discounts. I think you should send an email to the admissions team. The admissions team would have you have the relevant admissions team email on the top right corner of your offer letter for that person asking that question. Okay.
Just on that one quickly as well, Adidaya. I've posted the answer to that a few times as well. The scholarships are academically based. There are certain courses, and I posted that link in the chat box. Please scroll up the chat box and find the link. There's certain courses that are exempt from scholarships. If you, however, feel that you're deserved of a scholarship, please, top right-hand corner, like Adidaya says, of your offer letter, the admission mailbox is there. They'll have a look at it. But if you've applied for any of those courses that are on the exemption list, or you know that you don't meet the academic qualifications, that's why you don't have the scholarship. Okay, we've answered that question a few times in the chat box. Please do scroll up and have a look at the answers as well. Thank you. Sorry, Adidaya.
Sorry, my mic was muted. Okay, Quentin, this question, the intakes available link share is for MSc students. Do we have a list of courses for UG for January 2026? I know
Again,
there are very few courses.
I posted that in the chat as well earlier on. I
Okay.
posted the link and I posted the courses. There are 3 undergrad courses. If you go onto that same page, the intakes available page, and you go look at January, and you go look at, for example, health, just click on that health box, and you'll see there'll be 3 undergrad courses that'll pop up there. Please, guys, a lot of these questions, we've posted the links, but you're not looking at the links. You want us to give you the answer the whole time.
Yeah.
At a postgrad level especially, I would expect you to be able to click on a link and have a look at what is there. Okay, we're there to help you, we're there to guide you, but there's also a time where you need to do a bit of self-help as well. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so as we wrap up now, we are wrapping up the session. So for those of you who decide to defer your offer until January 2026, someone said, what's the best time to start my POF? Please start your POF. I would advise you start your POF latest beginning of September, because by that time we will have started issuing CASs for January, okay? And you'll be able to apply for your CAS once your proof of funds is ready. In fact, you can even start your proof of funds beginning of August. You take the whole of August to count your 28 days. And then by the end of August, beginning of September, you're ready to apply for your CAS for January. And then you can get your visa way before December, way before the holidays. I tell you, for those of you who after this call will be deferring till January intake, please note that you have a very short window. If there are people who get turned back when they arrive in the UK because they have arrived late, it's usually January intake applicants, because they have a shorter window period and the university is not usually flexible with latest arrival dates, okay? So we've read questions from the registration form and we've answered a lot of questions from the chat box. The time is now 16:15, about to spend about almost 2 hours on this call. I believe we've covered a lot of questions as much as possible. If you feel that your question has not been answered, please feel free to get in touch with me. These are my contact details. And I please crave your indulgence. There are times you call, the phone will be on silent because we're in meetings like this. We have, apart from attending to our offer holders, there are other administrative tasks that we attend to. There are times we're attending exhibition, we're traveling. So, don't feel bad sometimes when you don't get an instant response. There was a way someone spoke to me yesterday morning. At the end of the call, I just smiled. Like I smiled for a very long, I was just smiling. The person said, I sent you a message 2 hours ago and you've not responded. I'm like, I'm not AI. Like I was on leave all through last week, and like the WhatsApp inbox right now is overflowing. It will take me a while to get back to a lot of people. And if maybe the need for that response has passed now, you can send the message all over again so that you can come up and I can attend to you. You can send an email. If you are trying to reach me on WhatsApp, there's no risk. You can send an email. You can try to call. Sometimes when the phone is not available, just know that once the phone is not available, whether it's switched off or it's just not available, that means we are not available at the time, okay? So please feel free to get in touch with us as much as possible. We're here to support you. And please note the Telegram group will be open again from today. Let's be respectful of one another. Let's be mindful of the kind of content we are posting on the group. And let's be supportive of one another. There is no foolish question. And we wish you all the best for the September intake. The next meeting we will be having will be for the pre-departure briefings for those who finally made it through for the September intake, to give them a bit of perspective on what to expect before they arrive and on arrival. Thank you very much, everyone, on this call. Special thanks to my colleagues. Thanks to my manager, Mr. Quentin. Quentin, thank you so much. Mark, thank you so much. Mark, are you there? Thank you so much. I don't know if you have something to say to the house, Mark. You've been answering a lot of questions.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for all your great questions, everyone. And please bear with me. I'm the guy who processes the precast stuff. So I need lots of coffee in the next day, and I'll be getting to it as soon as I can. But yeah, we are quite busy at the moment, as you can imagine. But yeah, we'll be done as soon as you can. And same with CAS as well. Just be patient because the CAS team are very busy, as Quentin said. But yeah, thanks. It's great to meet you all, and hopefully we'll see you soon in September.
Yeah, see you soon in September. Quentin, any final words you want
Yeah,
to say to
thanks,
everyone?
Mark. Thanks, Adidaya, for a great presentation. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Just please, if you've got any questions, please do have a look at the chat box. This is recorded, the session as well, so you can have a look. But do look at the chat box because we posted a lot of links on the chat box. Everything that we kind of giving you the information here is we're just trying to help you to make it as smooth as possible for you to get into the university and to go through the process. But as Adidayo said, please be mindful that our official hours of working are 9 to 5. If you get a response from Adidayo outside of those hours, consider yourself lucky. Please do not shout at her. She's working very hard, and she's got a lots of emails to catch up on, because it's not just one student sending an email. You got hundreds of students sending an email, and I know because I get them in my mailbox as well. So just be patient. If your initial query doesn't get responded within an hour, 2 hours, just be patient. We will get to it as soon as we can. It doesn't help if you're going to send me another 3-4 emails. It's just going to make it that much longer before I respond.
Exactly.
Okay, so just thank you, guys. Just please, anything that we've asked you, just be proactive about it as well. Like Adidayo mentioned a few times, booking flights and things like that. Yes, I understand you might want to wait a month until it's £50 cheap or something, but ask yourself, is that £50 really worth the extra headache or being denied starting at the time when you're supposed to start? Let's be reasonable about it. Think logically about it as well. I know it's a lot of money. I know it's a big outlay you're doing here, and you don't want to kind of waste that all because of 50 quid. Okay, but we are here to answer your questions. But just also please have a look at the links that we put there because a lot of the questions are answered by the links as well. Okay, thank you. Just on one final note, a couple of people have mentioned about the scholarship, so I'm just going to reiterate it. If you believe that you should get a scholarship and it's not on your offer letter, please contact admissions on the top right hand corner. We cannot give you a scholarship. That is for admissions team to decide whether you're eligible for a scholarship or not. If you're waiting for a CAS or you want an extension for your CAS, again, we cannot give you an extension on your CAS. That is now entirely up to the CAS team. We've already extended the CAS deadline up to as far as we can. We've extended now to the 14th of July. Anything past that is entirely at the CAS team's discretion. We have no bearing on that. Okay, so it doesn't help you begging Adidayo, begging me, begging Mark for a CAS extension. We cannot do past the 14th. That is at the CAS team's discretion only. Okay, we can help you with a lot of issues. There's some things that we cannot help you with. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
We'll let you know. Thank you, everyone. We'll let you know how you access the recorded version of this in due course. I'll either send you an email or drop you a message on Telegram. Mark, thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a restful evening from the heat. All right, bye, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
All right, bye.